bats were entering my room. Bats were entering my apartment. Bats had access to my space. Bats were flying around in my house. And I knew that I was in for like deep shit.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassandra. I am a content creator based in Lagos, Nigeria. I do lifestyle, beauty, fashion, and a little bit of any and everything basically. Today I'll be doing a Grwm Chitchat video where I'll be doing my everyday makeup glam that I usually have on. And well, not really every day, it's more like the kind of makeup I wear when I'm either going to work from the office, which is like very rare, or when I'm creating content at home. So like it's nothing too serious, just a simple bit. And I'll be doing a story time as well. So I had a poll on my Instagram where I asked everybody to vote the video they wanted to see next, and people like gist because everyone voted for this video, right? So I'll be doing a story time of why I have moved houses 3 times in Lagos under 2 years. Which is no fault of mine, no, it's not my fault. But that has happened and I'll be talking, about it a bit extensively. So I hope that you enjoy this video and you have fun watching it, basically. So I will see you guys in the video. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the family. If you're an existing subscriber, this gist is going to be very sweet for you. And thank you for sticking around. You're a real G. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. I already did my skin prep. I have my face very, very moisturized and hydrated. I'm very big on hydration these days. And because I am not going to be wearing this makeup anywhere, I'm just creating content indoors, I'm going to be going very simple. So I have this Maybelline primer. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a Fit Me primer. I'm wearing a lot of Maybelline products today just to prime my skin. Underneath all that hydration. And I think that's almost finished. Oh God, I beg. Yeah, so I will just be priming my skin with this. I have a mirror here, so I'll be looking down here a whole lot because my mirror is here. So I'll be priming my face with this. Anyway, let me just get into the story. I decided in 2020, towards the end of 2020, that it was time to get my own apartment and move closer to work, because I had been working on the island for quite a while and I was living with my uncle in Surulere, so it wasn't always like the easiest getting to work because of traffic and all of that. So again, I'm like, okay, so let me get an apartment now, let me be close to work so that I will stop entering long traffic every day that was literally affecting my life and my mental health. So I started to look for apartments. I had some money saved. I also wanted an apartment because I wanted to start creating content more consistently, which I actually started doing when I got my own apartment. I could now do things on my own schedule, right? So I started looking for apartments online because I didn't know like any actual agents, on the island. This is a Maybelline foundation as well. It's a bit dark for me, so but I already have it and it must finish. Anyway, I started looking for apartments. I started checking online. I checked Property Pro, Property Center. Those are very common websites that I realized that many people use on the island as well. And I started to search for apartments. And then I saw a few, somewhere above my budget, somewhere within my budget, but I was just very keen on getting something that I could afford and I could keep up with, every year, and that wouldn't, take too much out of my income, right? So I was looking at Agungi Ikati Axis. Not Ajaja, is too far. I was looking at Agungi Ikati Axis, and eventually I found one. I mean, I checked like a couple, but I finally found one that seemed nice enough. So I went to check it out, and when I did, it seemed like it was a perfect apartment for me because it was a self-contained. It was spacious, like it was really big. It had a nice bathroom and toilet. It had a nice kitchen. So I'm like, yeah, this is the apartment. I told the agents that I was ready for it. And, I went to their office, did my due diligence. So they had an office, they had a website self. I filled a form for the agent's company, the one that showed me the apartment. And then I, went back home, spoke to my sister about it, and, the following day, I decided to make payments for it because I didn't want to lose the apartment. And if you live in Lagos, you know that if you check one house today, it might be gone by tomorrow because everybody's trying to get a nice house. So I paid, and when I went to check the apartment, there was someone staying there, and they told me that the person was moving out because she was pregnant, and a one room apartment was too small for her and her husband, so they were moving into a bigger space, which was why the apartment was like available for rent. So I was waiting for the person to move out. They gave me a date, the person was going to move out, and then, I was just waiting because, I paid my money to get my apartment, ready to be a Lagos big girl. Anyway, a month after, let's say I paid in October. In November, I was supposed to move in November 30th, I think. Or was it November 1st? November 30th. And then the agent called me on November 29th and said, hi. So there's been, some news. I'm like, oh, what's up? What's going on? And it's like, oh, the person says that she's not moving out anymore. I'm like, what happened to the baby? What happened to wanting space? What happened to my money? And it says, tell stories. Hey, I saw my life flash through my eyes because I'd given this agent all the money I had in Lagos. I was not even like, I was not having it, like, because it didn't make any sense to me. I just wasn't having it. Anyway, I started to cry, like, I shed hot tears, but I couldn't believe that this was happening to me. I felt like I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I couldn't believe that I was going to lose my money. But the guy said, oh, they'll give me a refund, what's up, blah, blah, blah. But then this is Lagos. Like, people rarely refund you. Like, even online Instagram vendors will tell you that no refund policy or So I'm like, okay, no problem. Anyway, the guy called me the following day and said, you know what, he has found another apartment for me to check out. So I'm like, okay, we thank God for messes. I went to check the apartment he called me on a Sunday. I went to check the apartment on a Monday. And then, when I got there, the apartment he was showing me was even bigger than the first one. But this one was not a self-contained. It was a shared apartment with like 3 other people. And I didn't want a shared apartment. I wanted my own space. I didn't want to share space with anybody. But at the same time, I knew that I'd given this guy, all my money. He was showing me another apartment. In this Lagos, I knew that it was either I took the apartment he was showing me or wait for months before we would refund the money, or we would not even refund the money at all. So I just said, you know what, yeah, I'll take the apartment. They promised that they were going to, renovate it to my taste, paint it, build my own kitchen for me so that I wouldn't have to share kitchen space with like anybody else, which was good because I did not want to, I wanted my own apartment. I didn't want to share an apartment. So I'm like, all right, cool. I will take, this one that people are showing to me because what choice do I have, really? And they actually kept their promise. They renovated it, ensured that I had my own kitchen space that was very large. My room was very big as well. So I'm like, all right, all is well and good. I was happy because life was finally going back to normal. Things were, balancing. But then again, if you've lived in Lagos, you know that some things are too good to be true. A week after I finally moved in, it took forever for them to renovate. I finally moved in the first week of, I think last week of December. And then I was in my house by New Year's. Second day of the year, January 2nd, 2021, my best friend Modupe came to spend the night with me because, I was really like the first or second person in our friendship group to move to their own apartment. So we're all very excited for each other because, we're growing up. We're not big girls in Lagos. Anyway, Modupe came to spend the night, and during the night, she started to scream. Like, Modupe started to scream. So, like, past 4 in the morning. I thought something had possessed herself. And then she woke me up, and then I jumped up, and then she pointed at the ceiling, and I saw 2 birds flying around. And I was wondering what the hell, right? Like, seeing birds in your apartment is very, very spooky. You are Nigerian. Like, if you're a Nigerian and you see birds flying around, you would think that somebody has started to, chase you spiritually. But I didn't even want to read that kind of meaning into it. I was just very spooked out. And my assumption was that during the renovation process, because this is my new apartment had a balcony and all of that. My assumption was that during the renovation process that, the bed probably got in and got trapped. And we shall ran to the balcony. I even felt when I was running. We ran to the balcony and we opened the doors and we let the beds out. I'm just going to cut the story short here to show you that before I do my brows, I usually go in with like wax to ensure that my brows are sitting as they should and they are properly slicked. So that's what I'm doing right now. Anyway, back to the gist. My friend came a week after the first incident happened. We're chilling in my apartment. We're having like a great evening after work. We just watched a very old movie. We just ate spaghetti that we bought on the streets of Agungi, and you know we were just laying on. I think we were laying on my bed watching a movie, and then suddenly I saw another bed in my apartment. And at this point, I'm very spooked up because I was convinced that something was sending this bed to me. And my friend jumped up and started using a wrapper to chase the bed. Now, if you have common sense, you know that you cannot use rubber to chase bed, right? But let's not go into my friend's common sense. He was doing his best for me, and he's going to watch this video, so I don't want him to drag me. Anyway, in the course of all of these things happening, I was very annoyed. Like this second incident, I called my security guard from the gate to come and help me chase the bed because the bed would not get out, no matter what we did. And my security guard came. He got the bed out after like a couple of minutes, and a week after again, another bed entered my apartment, and another bed, like 5, 6 beds. Only for me to realize a couple of months after that, those things that I was saying were not beds. It was not actually a bed that was getting into the apartment, you guys. They were bats. Bats were entering my room. Bats were entering my apartment. Bats had access to my space. Bats were flying around in my house. And I knew that I was in for like deep shit because bats, like beds are very creepy. Like beds are spooky enough, but bats is where I draw the line. I even draw the line at beds, but bats, like no, there is no explanation that you can give me. And I just knew that this was some really really weird stuff. So instantly, the instant I realized they were bats, I tried to block every way that I thought they were coming in through. I was still seeing them, killing them almost every night at this point. And then I reported to the estate management. This one's made it very clear that it wasn't a new thing, that bats had been living, they had been coexisting peacefully with, other tenants before I moved in, so they're not going to do anything about it. And it didn't make any sense to me because asking me to leave with bats is asking me for a lot. Because I don't even want to live with human beings like that. Talk more of live with bats. Anyway, I just decided that it was up to me to, find a way to get rid of them. Now, while all of these things were happening, with the whole bat scenario, we were also having another crisis. So it turned out that the agents that we got the apartment from was a fraud, and he also rented the apartments from other people and then lied to them that he was renting it for his wife and children. And when this ones found out that he had rented the apartment out to other people and they had now even, had demarcations, I had my own kitchen, there were multiple demarcations, they were not happy about it. So the owner of the flats, spoke to his own agents and his own realtors, and then they came to give us quick notice. So now it's my first apartment, my first year. It's not up to 6 months. I'm already getting quick notice, and I have living mammals flying around my room. Even the quick notice was not the biggest of my problems because we're like four. Like again, I said I had flatmates, so I knew that between all of us, we'll find the solution around it, right? So we called the guy that got the apartment for us. He said we should speak to the people and try to come to an agreement with them. We tried all of those things. They were not really bothering us, but they said, what, we're not asking you guys to leave right now, but we may ask you guys to leave at the end of the year. I'm trying to pour my setting powder right now. It's Funa Glams. I'm a bit cheap. I've been cheap lately, like with the makeup that I'm buying. I don't even know what brand this is, but it does a good job. So why fix what is not broken? Anyway, I wanted to find a solution to the bath problem because I wasn't sleeping anymore. I was having like nightmares. Well, I mean, who would not have nightmares if bats were flying around in their room? Let's be very honest with ourselves. I was having nightmares and I was just, always at alert because any day, anytime, a bat could fly into your room and then there's nothing they can do about it. And I was always having to call my neighbors or my flatmates or the like estate security, at odd hours to come and help me get rid of bats. So, that was not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life, or for 2 years or 3 years. Because, I didn't plan to move out, anytime soon. Fast forward to, July, I found out that they were entering just from like January, by the way, to July, 7 months, leaving me back. I found out that they were entering through a particular window very close to my bed. And I found this out after I went for a games night. I came back like 5 a.m. and then I saw two bats flying in my room and then I almost like had a stroke. And I ran away. I left my door open. I went to my flatmate's apartment to sleep. And my friends came in the morning to look for me and said they kidnapped me. Was it like that's a whole different story. Anyway, I finally found where they're coming in through. I called, a carpenter to help me fix some form of net there, and thankfully, I stopped seeing bats. But then the estate started to go to shit. So many things started to happen. The management stopped managing it, and it was not up to us, the tenants, to manage it, ourselves. And with the quick notice and everything, I just realized that it was just best to start looking for a new apartment because we stopped at PHN started to disconnect us every other week. We're paying huge sums of money to stay connected to power. People had owed like 5 million naira, they started to say things like, oh, we'll pay the money back. And I don't know who is we, because at that time of my life, my salary was from my main job. I had like side gigs. For my main job, my salary was like 80,000 naira. So when you say we would clear debt of like 5 million, who is the we? I knew that it couldn't be me, clearly. So I'm like, yeah, it's time to start looking for another apartment because it has too many issues. And then the people who rented the apartment from me insisted that, they wanted us to leave at the end of the year because they didn't want it to be a shared apartment. So, I'm like, wow, I do have to move. And then, I'd been saving to renew my rent, not to get a new apartment. And then it's very expensive to move because you have to pay like so many fees, agency caution. And then in Lagos, like, you must pay those fees. And some landlords don't even accept, 1 year payment. Some people want 2 years, 1.5. So I knew that I had to get my money up. My rent at the time was like 480K. Everything was like 600K sha, with service charge and everything. But like I knew that I had to put like almost 1 million naira for a new apartment, and I wasn't ready for that. So I had to start saving double, start cutting down on so many things to find a new space. And then I started to search for a new space, you guys. This part gets interesting because I wasn't even in a hurry. I just knew that I had to move out, by 1st of January of 2022. But I started searching so that I would not be stranded. And I didn't want to squat with, anybody at the time. I'm almost done, pretty much done my skin work. Don't judge what it looks like right now. By the time I'm done, you'll see a proper babe. I'm going to do my brows now. I started to look for, a new apartment, and everything that I was seeing was really expensive. It was either too expensive or it had, one comma. And I was trying to avoid like all the issues that I had in the last apartment. I didn't want to fall victim of, another bat house. I didn't want to fall victim of an estate that wasn't properly managed and, all of those things. So I just started to search, and finally I found somewhere that I could afford. It was a much smaller apartment. I knew that I would have to settle for a much smaller apartment because, I didn't really plan to move at the time that I had to. So I saw the one I finally saw, that looked fair. I took it. And I didn't even know that that was the beginning of my problems. Wow, my brows, they did well very fast today. That was the beginning of, my problems. I'm going to continue my brows off camera, and then I will continue my story from there. My brows are giving, like, they are giving more than what they should actually give today. Like, they're sleeping, they're doing what they're supposed to do. I already concealed my I applied some concealer to my eyelids, so I'm just going to apply like some eyeshadow from the Zaron nude eyeshadow palette Earth. I would open it, but like it's broken, so like I can't open it. Anyway, back to my second apartment. I finally started to, hunt for a new apartment, and then I found, the one that seemed the most reasonable. It was small, but it wasn't too small because, I planned to live alone, and it just seemed perfect for me, and I took it. I checked everything. They had good power. The road was great. There was access to the gym, to the market, close to church. It was just like it seemed perfect, except the space. But I could deal with that. I knew that my money was not long. What was I going to do? Shortly after I moved into the new apartment, I realized that water wasn't running in my room. And then I called the caretaker's attention to it, and he said, "Oh yeah, they were fixing it, and then it's going to be fixed in a week." While they were, renovating the apartment, painting, fixing stuff, the caretaker said, "Oh, water wasn't running because nobody had moved in yet, so they turned off the water supply." Long story cut short, I moved into the apartment and realized that water was not running anywhere in the house except like by the tank where there was a tap. So water was running outside, which means that people were fetching water, you know, in their apartment. And I realized that I was in deep trouble because as bad as my first apartment was, it still had running water. So I couldn't believe that I had moved to this ghetto in Jakonde access, so like close to New Road, Ilason. So like it was very close to Ikate. Much closer to Ikate than Jakonde rather. My point is that I had moved to the ghetto because I was very happy when I got the apartment because again, despite the size, it was close to literally everywhere. It wasn't too far from my boyfriend. It was close to one of my best friends. And, you know, I was happy about it. But I realized that water wasn't running. Power supply was great, but this is going to our lights every time. What I ran from my first apartment. This is going to light every time because my neighbors did not used to pay money for, for those services on time. So they would disconnect our power and we wouldn't have lights for a while. You guys, it was actually the ghetto. And then to make it worse, that wasn't even the worst thing about this apartment. There was no network in my own room. And I work from home, I work remotely. So clearly living somewhere with no network is like suicide for me. So like I was just depressed. Like I was so like this was like second month into the apartment. I had already paid for reconnection fee for NEPA like 3 times, right? In second month though, I didn't have network. I would almost climb my fridge during meetings. I have to stay outside near the gates to hold my meetings. It was just terrible. I started to regret even moving from the first apartment, even if I did not have a choice. But like the second apartment was just like it was my worst nightmare, you guys. And again, I couldn't believe that life was doing this to me. Like I'd paid about 900K for the second apartment. Almost it was over 900K self. And still like I wasn't getting the value for my money. I was just really as broken about it. And I knew that in that second month, in that space, that I was not going to last there. Like God forbid I lasted there. And then I was very like I told my friends what was going on. Like everybody knew that I was unhappy. There was no network. Even my colleagues knew. Like I never had network. Anyway, a couple of months after, like I moved in December, in August, or in July rather. My sister was supposed to like relocate, but she, put a hold to her plans, and then she reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm not moving anytime. I'm not relocating anytime soon." And so person says they have this apartment in so place. There's still some rent on it, and you won't be paying so much. You won't be paying agency agreement and what's not. It's a 3 bedroom. It's very big. I think that you will like it. It's not very far from your first apartment, so it won't feel too far for you, even if it was farther than my second apartment. So we sure came to check it though. Mind you, we're just 7 months into my stay at the second place, but who cares? I sure came to come and check the apartment, and then it was when I came here. I saw like my room, this room that I'm currently in right now, filming this video. I saw the sunlight entering the room. I knew that I was going to stick it. Like there was no two stories. Like there was no stories to be told. I knew that I'll be stupid not to take this apartment for the price that we're getting it and the things are already in here. It still had like a lot of work to do, but it wasn't so much compared to like renting a whole new space. Sorry, I'm wearing my lipstick, guys. I'm actually almost done. This is like the fastest bit I've ever done in my life. Anyway, we took, wow, I'm a babe, you guys. This lip combo is like the best thing. This is Zaron's brown lipstick and a MAC lipstick in French silk. I love it. It is so gorgeous, you guys. Like, I would rather use this combo over like lip liner. I don't know why. I just think it's perfect for me. This is such a look, guys. Like, I'm so impressed with how fast I finished this makeup. Wow. Wow. You guys. Wow. Anyway, I spoke to my landlord and he agreed to give me a refund of like the second landlord. He agreed to give me a refund because we had agreed to take this apartment and that would help me with some money. So August 2022, I moved out of the ghetto, the Lungu, the trenches, the worst place I've ever lived in my life. And I moved into this very wonderful space that we like so far, so good. We don't really like our neighbors because they are very, very badly behaved. And they're like much older people that are very concerning towards us. They give that look of, what do they do? But we don't care. I mean, it's not like I'm that normal, so they'll meet me there. So guys, this is the finished look. I have done like my full glam. It's very simple, very subtle, very pretty, if I do say so myself. And I've told you like a whole lot of story. So if you enjoyed watching that video or you enjoyed the story time, let me know. I have stories for days. Ask my friends, like all my friends and my boyfriends. I have stories for days. So I have like way more stories to share. If you want more videos like this, let me know in the comment section and I will film more videos like this. If you want me to do like a detailed makeup tutorial of how like I achieved this soft glam, because I'm not a makeup artist, and see what I pulled off. And the skin work is very, very fine. If you want me to do this as well, I will definitely film this. And I will also be going ahead to put like a proper breakdown of all the products I used in the description box for you guys so that you see like all the products that I used and you know where to also get them from. I'll also be tagging. I buy all my makeup products from one person really. Talk Glam on Instagram. I'll put our handle in the description box as well so you can buy stuff from her. Then I think that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when I drop my next video next weekend. And that will be all from me for today, guys. I really enjoyed filming this video, considering the fact that this is like the 7th time I have filmed this video and something always goes wrong. So fingers crossed that everything is where it should be while I edit this video and then I can actually put it up. But if you did enjoy it, be sure to let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. And yes, follow me on my socials. They would also be in the description box. And that would be goodbye from me.